Welcome to a new episode of Dork Souls Podcast, where the dorkiest souls get together and nerd out. I am your host, Lisa Wallen, and other host,
Hector Navarro. And on today's episode, we're talking about how to make recommendations for people just getting into stuff. Anime, video games, comic books, movies. I get made fun of for my taste in comedy films. You'll see. It's pretty brutal.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Patreon for more content. Rate us on all your preferred podcast platforms and enjoy today's episode. Yay!
Yay!
Is that lemons? Are those lemons?
Lemons.
I'm very proud of you today.
Thanks.
You look like you work at Tommy Bahama.
I wish I did. Be nice to have a job.
That's why we're doing this.
Those old men. That's why we're doing this.
Speaking of jobs, welcome to a new episode of the Dork Souls Podcast with Lisa Wallen and Hector Navarro. Yay!
The internet is lit on fire excited for this show.
They are, but by the time this episode's out, they've already seen enough.
All of the episodes. Yeah, they've already seen enough.
They've seen enough. They know too much now. Yeah, how have you been? You been good?
Pretty good.
Yeah, we haven't recorded in 2 weeks.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, we're doing the bi-weekly thing now.
Yeah, that's right. We're bi-weekly.
Even though we're still recording as much as we can because we are both very busy people.
Yes.
Yeah.
At first we were bi-curious about going bi-weekly. We're like, should we
now we're
attempt that?
full curious.
Now we're full curious and we're in it. We are bi-weekly.
And we're doing that because we need money. So if you guys want more content, we have Patreon for those reasons. So we will have bonus episodes every month. And we know because we are doing that, we are recording every month. And this will probably be maybe our last consistent episode where we don't have a guest.
Oh.
So we're going to start having guests next episode. So we don't know yet. We'll figure out who's doesn't have a job and can be on
All-star.
the podcast.
All-star, unemployed, your faves. They're all going to be on the show.
All of them. All the people with a lot of followers with no money.
We promise to dork out with cool people.
Yes, and we have to. We've already established it.
Yeah.
And from let's see, what we do last episode, we talked about collections. We talked about how we got into our nerdy stuff and what we started collecting and the weird shit that we own.
We talk about statues.
Yes. How's the eBay selling going?
Not good. I need to get back into I keep getting new toys and action figures, and then my girlfriend's like, where are you going to put those? And I'm like, don't worry about it. I know exactly which shelf they're going to go on. The toys that exist on there, I'm going to eBay them. But I haven't done that part of the process yet. So right now I have like two groups of little dudes looking at each other like, we live here. No, we live here. You got to get out of here because I need to eBay one group of dudes.
You need to make like a stop animation,
where they
stop
fight.
motion animation where they just fight over who gets to be on Hector's shelves.
I'm unemployed. I could do that.
Yeah,
I have
you probably
the time.
could. You could probably learn how to do stop motion.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
do feel like as an unemployed, I shouldn't say unemployed. My therapist is very much like, you're not unemployed, you're just self-employed and have no money. I'm like,
yeah, that's true.
Sure.
I'm just self-employed.
I would like to have employment though.
And the industry has imploded is what it is. The
but
entertainment industry doesn't want me, so that's what it is.
But I do think it's funny that every person I know in LA, which I love living here, is in that same boat.
Yeah.
And everyone has to have everyone has to learn how to edit.
Yeah.
Learn how to shoot stuff.
Yeah.
Learn how to do, I'm like, well, I have so many skills that no one wants to hire me for.
Right. I don't want to get into real estate. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. You're going to have to learn. Yeah. There
Not
you
interested.
go. I don't want to learn how to sell crypto and NFTs and stuff.
Never will.
Yeah.
That stuff's bad.
I'm not a 25-year-old Tesla driver from the Bay Area. You know, I'm just a giant emo kid who still dresses like she's 12. That's basically the vibe. But yeah.
You found that photo, by the way.
I did.
You got to talk about that.
I found a relic. I found an internet relic. I found the original photo of the viral Lisa 12-year-old Christmas 2001 photo.
Holding a skateboard going,
holding not just any skateboard, a
like
Flame Boy World
Flame Boy.
Industry skateboard, wearing a blind skateboard t-shirt with the old ball chain necklace and little stream bean bangs. I remember that back in the day.
Yeah.
I found the original photo. And what's funny is when I posted originally online, I just included that part. There's actually additional lore to that photo.
Oh, God.
The full photo has even more lore where it's like, oh yeah, I have the old school jean Bermuda shorts that you used to like tie dye and like put shit on. I have like a poster that I cut out a bunch of like pictures of Blink-182 and shit from magazines and put them on a poster and laminated it. I was like, there is some deep early 2000 stuff. And now it's like, I got to frame that.
Yeah.
I can't just put it.
Is it in your possession or is it like at your parents' house?
It's weird how it happened. I was at my house and I was going through. So I was trying to figure out like a new sticker to put on the back of my phone because I don't have one right now.
Okay.
And this box just fell and it just came out of the box.
What?
And I was like, oh my God, I've been trying to find this. I had this photo the whole time. I thought my parents had it the whole time. I did. It was a sign from God. He was like, you need to post something on Instagram today. Here's something for you to post. And so I posted online. Everyone was like, oh my God, it's really you. And I was like, yeah, because people kept thinking it wasn't. Yeah. Why would I make that up?
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to make up.
That's a weird thing to try to have clout for.
Yeah.
That'd be like,
I don't even get credited enough for it to be cloutable.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. It'd be like, I'm the kid that was like holding up the Goosebumps books going, Ermigerd. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Why would you want that?
Do you have any weird claim internet to fame things?
No, man. I've been on the internet, and every time I've been on there, it's been perfect.
You know, I am curious to know, actually, what the most viral thing you have posted or that you're in.
It's probably, I know a couple years ago, I think I like posted something on Twitter about Batman Beyond that got like 20,000. Like, I don't know. At one point when I was on...
You have like a consistent following among all the things.
Kind of.
Yeah.
A little bit. Very lucky for that. And it's mostly just me like doing dorky stuff, and you know, I just watched this cartoon show. I just watched My Adventures with Superman, and I loved it. And people are like, "This is great." I'm like, "Oh,
this is great, Hector. More of this content.
More of this.
That's what this podcast is for."
Okay,
that's
you
crazy.
Got it. That's what I have. And that cartoon show actually is something that I would consider to be a part of the conversation we're going to have.
Which we will have today.
Yeah, we will have it right now.
We'll have it right now. Well, which is a good transition into the topic because I also have like a similar-ish story is like, I just have like random weird shit go viral I don't
put any effort into it.
I didn't consent to this to be shown by a million people. Like, cause I just like a bunch of random dumb viral tweets or whatever. But I built my following mainly because of like anime and video games on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because I would just talk in silly tweets and do reviews and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't do that as much anymore, and it makes me a little sad.
Yeah. Well, Twitter sucks. Nobody's on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. Twitter is ass.
Yeah.
And Blue Sky just has like the weird vibe of like everyone works at Kohl's that is on there. Like
Blue Sky's great, but Blue Sky's also like because
it feels like a Midwest department store.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. You go there for pants. You get the pants. You're like, all right, I'm good. I'm going to walk out.
And hear about coworker gossip.
You're like, oh.
Yeah. It's like none of the people have left the department store in Blue Sky. The vibe there is too safe.
Are you on Threads?
Yeah. Because
I'm not on Threads. You're on Threads.
Yeah. I got that.
What's the vibe there?
I mean, it's your Instagram.
Okay.
It's like, it's basically Twitter. I think it's better than Blue Sky.
Okay.
Because I don't like how Blue Sky has like the handle and then Blue Sky. It's like, can I just be Weasel Allen?
Too long.
And move on with my life?
Are you on, what was the Bumblebee one? I can't even remember.
There was a Bumblebee one?
There was like a little bee one.
Of course. They had like 1,000. Everyone was like, I just want to get rid of
Mastodon.
Twitter. But the thing is, I love Twitter. And I hate that I love Twitter. Twitter sucks.
I was addicted. Yeah.
Twitter sucks. But every once in a while, I still find a reason to like it. And I hate that I'm holding on to that.
No, I think don't feel bad about it. I see things that are still happening on Twitter, but just on the other social media platform. Like when somebody on Instagram's like, here's a picture from a really great tweet that just happened yesterday. I'm like, oh, that's good. Twitter's still going.
I do love how Instagram is 90% of people just sending me tweets that I saw 3 weeks earlier. And I'm like, you guys are so adorable. And TikTok, I have TikTok. I hate it. I go on there and it's just immediately loud.
Yeah.
I hate it. Like Instagram at least is like, here's pictures. You can choose. Yeah. And TikTok, you go on, it's just like, the cat is screaming in my face. And I, not a big fan. But anyways, not to go back to what we were talking about earlier, but today's topic is kind of interesting because you came up with it, which
what are you doing right now? What are you doing?
I'm just doing my thing.
Showing your face?
Yeah, I'm just, stemming.
Giving the people what they want. Yes, I think that is stemming. Yeah,
I do. People are like, "Are you autistic?" No, I'm just weird. I'm just weird. I just have a lot of energy. I just ate Taco Bell.
Yeah,
I
saw it. I saw it happen. Saw it. It's true, folks.
Taco Bell Lisa. It's just like I gotta touch stuff. Like there you go. No. For today's topic, you came up with it, which I was very proud of. Yeah. Which would you like to introduce today's topic?
The topic today is going to be, we're talking about recommendations.
Beginner's guides.
Sort of like beginner's guides. Meaning, if Lisa's really into anime, and I'm curious about this because it happens to me often.
You're like curious because anime sucks.
No. Anime's cool and rad, but it is also massive, and there's a trillion things involved. When you say anime, it's everything. I like comic books. Same thing. It's like there's a trillion different things when you're talking about comic books.
Yeah.
So when people find this out about you, and the people that are like, oh, I'm curious about this, or I'm curious about this video game that you're playing, or I'm curious about this, if the video game is like a series, or if I'm curious about like a Marvel character or like a Marvel movie, like where should I start at the beginning? Where should I start? Where should I jump in? Where should I do this? Where should I do that?
And you get overwhelmed as someone who has like seen and watched and looked at everything where you're like, I need more.
Yes. And I do ask questions.
You gotta break it down. What do you like?
Absolutely.
Did I tell you I had this like little thing during the pandemic where people would like DM me like, can I get anime recommendations? And I'd be like, what are you like?
Yeah,
what are some of your favorite movies? I'll give you like top 10 because I had this show with G4, the Skeptic's Guide to Anime, where okay, this week we want to talk about psychological thrillers. So I was like, okay, come up with 5 psychological thriller animes and try to sell them to me. It was honestly so fucking fun doing that.
Great.
But then it just felt like I was, oh my God, someone came up with the term last night on my stream. Do you know what the woman version of mansplaining is?
It's not woman-splaining?
She-labarating.
She-labarating. So you felt like you were just she-labarating.
I was she-labarating.
That's great.
I know. I was like, what is that word? I thought you were saying
Next time I'm hanging out with a woman and they say something interesting, I'm going to go, She-laborate on that, please.
Yeah,
She-laborate on that, please. That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
I just found that out last night.
Would you mind she-laborating on that?
Yeah, and I was like on my stream, like everyone knew this term, but how did I live on the internet this long and not know it? So anyways, I she-laborated. Yeah. I felt like I was like, okay, at this point, I'm just talking to a wall. So
as opposed to kind of a back and forth.
Yeah, well, it was also a paid show I did. Sure. So it's like when the viewers don't really care as much, it's like, but like when friends reach out to you and are like,
you know your friends.
Yeah.
And I can make recommendations for my friends all the live long day. It is tough when people go,
can you recommend me a therapist?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I wish I could. I should have a therapist right now, and I don't. But yeah, when people say, can I get anime recommendations? I'm like, that's like saying, hey, do you know a good book to read? Hey, what's a good movie to watch? It's like, dude, you have to narrow it down. You have to. But in this conversation, do you have like certain picks that are in your back pocket for when you do meet a person and you do get responses of like, oh, I kind of like romance, or I kind of like action, or I kind of, do you have your go-tos?
Oh,
because there are good jumping on points for everything that we're talking about.
I think it's harder for video games because you're like, I need to know how skilled you are.
That's a great point. Because that's a great point.
Like Elden Ring, for example, was a lot of people's first From Software game.
Okay, which are famously difficult.
Yeah, and it is a little easier because it is open world. It does get super hard. Yeah. But a lot of people will play it and they'll be like, okay, like I can figure this out. What are the other ones? I'm like, what's the part about it you love? Did you love the exploration aspect and the character designs, or did you love getting your ass kicked? Because you love getting your ass kicked, you can play all of them. Got it. But if you love like the exploration parts type, like I'm going to give you different games to recommend. Because it's
what would be that first? The first like From Software game that people were trying out. What was it that you said?
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. That's people's first.
A lot of people's first.
Okay, is Elden Ring, and they're checking it out because it's super famous right now. Everybody's streaming it. They're like, I want to get into it.
Yeah, because it was like the big game that came out in 2022, I
Whatever
think.
It was. Yeah, a couple years ago.
It was
Elden
like Game
Ring.
of the Year. And now that everyone is like, I feel like video games itself has really blown up like another wave in the last few years.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because we talked about video game adaptations and just the fact that a lot of people were at home during the pandemic and bought their first consoles.
Bingo.
Yes.
Bingo. Bingo bongo. Or retro gaming blew up as well because people were just eBaying their old video game stuff that they wanted for comfort. So then they were...
Or they're buying those like Nintendo thing that come with like 50 games. Or
oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people I knew first video game console came out during the pandemic for them. And me, I was like, I was already in... Like, I had a friend I just bought a PS5. I never played PlayStation in my life. What should I play? And I'm like,
that's crazy.
You know, or like we were talking earlier, like the Switch, a lot of people's first Zelda game was Breath of the Wild. Yes. I was like, how did you not go your whole life and not play Zelda? And I realized people played sports and had friends. And I was like, oh yeah. And had
social lives.
Yeah, I didn't have that.
Relationships and stuff. Yeah,
for sure. But I did have all the Zelda lore right in my noggin while my brain was still developing.
There it is right there. That's right there in your arm.
Zelda lore.
So, okay, let's stick on video games. Somebody says, I've never played a Zelda game. they're kind of a somewhat experienced gamer. They've played other games.
What console do they have? That's another thing.
Got
Video
it.
games are so hard because it's like,
Well,
okay,
let's say that they have let's say that they have a Switch. But that kind of gives you access because with the Nintendo Online Store, you can kind of play some. So what would you recommend? Would you say do Breath of the Wild first, or would you say another Zelda game?
I would 100% say try one of the older ones.
Which one?
Like Link to the Past, Super
Dang.
Nintendo.
Aren't you worried that that's too old school?
No.
It's amazing. It's one of my faves.
I think Ocarina of Time is the most iconic,
Yes.
but
Might be too difficult.
if you didn't grow up with the N64 PS1 graphics era, it's hard to play those games.
Too ugly. I get it.
At least Super Nintendo is like 2D, like cartoony, where it's like it's
but clean.
Like games still look like that now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No one's
on purpose.
on
purpose.
Yeah, no one's making a replica of an N64
on purpose
game on purpose because it looks like shit.
Or should they?
Or
maybe they should.
Link's Awakening remake, I'd probably do too.
Oh yeah, that came out on
so
Switch.
Cute.
Super
so
cute.
Good.
Okay,
yeah.
that's because it gives you the sort of bare bones basic, like these are the fundamentals of Zelda, a Zelda story. And then from there, maybe you can go into a more 3D.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild is good, but it's more
huge.
Shadow of the Colossus to me.
It is.
Than Zelda.
Would you recommend Shadow of the Colossus as a beginner game?
Because I just played it. No. As a beginner game?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I appreciated more playing it for the first time now because I grew up on video games and know like how video game mechanics work. I mean, let's talk about the best example for giving someone a video game recommendation, never play video games. My friend Sam never played a video game in her life.
We've mentioned Sam before. We'll continue to mention her.
I told her to play Stardew Valley because she wanted something cozy and it like ruined her life. She put like 1,000 hours into it. She platinumed the game.
I love it.
So it's like
has she played a game since? Has she done Animal Crossing?
She tried to do another like Graveyard Keeper, like all those weird simulator games. She's like, nothing hits the same. She knows.
Oh, so you ruined her life.
Yeah.
Like it was drugs.
So
it's
ruined... hard for me to recommend like the best game first. So people being like, Elden Ring was so good. What's another game playing? I'm like, Elden Ring is pretty good. Yeah, you can play the other Souls games, but they're not going to be open world. They're going to be a little harder. They're going to be a little like if you like the difficulty, then yes.
Okay.
But
let's stay on games. Somebody says, I've never played a Mario game.
Ooh.
Where do you go?
Where do you go?
Oh, you're asking me now. Oh.
It's hard because I have so many in my head.
You know what I might go with is...
Galaxy?
No, I might go... Speaking of how you're sort of talking about like the Zelda, the sort of 2D style, I might go if there's... And I think there's a newer version on the Switch... New Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
They're basically a remake of the original sort of 2D style Mario games.
But it's like 3D now.
Yeah. With the music. Ha ha. Do 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 do. Super cute.
Yeah, recommending versus your favorite is different.
Yes, this is the recommendation.
Super Mario Galaxy games are my favorite of the Marios.
Really?
But I think it's a bit much because I think you appreciate Galaxy mechanics because you played the other Marios.
Mario 64.
Like, oh, now I can do this and I can do this.
I agree. So that's why I was like, let me start with New Super Mario Brothers on the Switch. If they love
also,
that.
Mario 64 still looks good.
It still looks good, but I would say maybe Mario Odyssey with the cap. Because it feels like a 3D. It feels like Super Mario Galaxy or Super Mario 64.
We need a new Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey's great.
We need a new one.
We need a new one? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you. Recommendation, Pokemon game. If somebody says, I've never played Pokemon.
Honestly, that's hard because like Pokemon has changed so much over the years.
But it's also remained exactly the same.
Yeah.
To its detriment, and people hate it.
I'm still stuck on like I still think the best ones are the earliest ones. But if I'm gonna recommend, and this is another thing about video game recommendations, is that you have to is it available for you to even play?
I don't know
what I mean?
Like I don't know if Pokemon Red and Blue, I think they are on like the Nintendo Switch online Nintendo store.
I do like Diamond and Pearl were a pretty good era.
Remember when they started remaking them?
Yeah.
The first one was on Game Boy Advance, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf
Green are so good.
I would recommend that one.
Those are probably good. And they're not overwhelming.
If they're available.
There isn't 1,000 fucking Pokemon.
Right. Exactly.
Everyone's like, we need more content, new content. I'm like, why don't you just like there's 1,000 of you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ask for new Zelda characters. Like, we don't need new Pokemon.
That's enough. You've made enough Pokemon.
You've made enough. And so half of them don't even make sense now.
Yeah.
Gumshoes.
Lamp wick.
Yeah.
This Pokemon's a candle.
Yeah. There you
ran out of animals. You ran out of cool shit.
It's a pair of glasses.
Okay.
Yeah, named Glassy.
This is a wallet. Like,
yeah.
What?
This is a wallet.
Stop. This is a pile of trash.
This is a passport.
Okay. What kind of Pokemon type is it? Trash. We made up a new type. It's a trash type.
It's a trash type.
Okay.
Here's all the new cards now with all the trash Pokemon.
And evolves into Garbodor. Okay, great. Great. That's a real Pokemon. Probably that's like a 15-year-old Pokemon. I feel like that's from like Diamond and Pearl or something.
It's just a giant dump truck.
I don't know what it is.
Who cares anymore,
anyway,
right?
I love it. I love Pokemon.
Yeah. Video games are hard. Video games are tough because you have to go by availability,
Absolutely.
skill.
Console, skill, you know.
Like
and also the conversation changes if it's like a little kid.
Yeah.
Right? I remember years ago.
But like, the little kid play Elden Ring.
Dude, 20 years ago, in like the early 2000s, I had a Super Nintendo, 2 controllers, and like 6 or 10 games. Okay. I went to GameStop when they were buying back old stuff. I think I was in high school or college, and I went to GameStop and I said, how much for this stuff? And the guy was like, sorry, man, GameStop's rules are that we'll give you $5 for the console and 50 cents for each game. And I was like, get out of my face. I went to my Mexican aunt was at the swap meet that weekend. And she had a little spot at the swap meet selling clothes and stuff like that. And she goes like, oh, if you're trying to sell your thing, you should come by. And I went over with her and I sold my Super Nintendo with the games and 2 controllers. Everything worked. Again, this is like 2005 or something, right? 2008 to a new dad for $40 altogether, $40. Because I sold the dad on like, you want to have your kids play these first. And this guy had like a baby. Like him and his wife were coming by and they were like,
she's
what do you got?
A few years, but yes.
And I said, when the kid starts playing video games, really, I'm like, this is going to be a great entry level. And I sold it to him for $40.
It is crazy to be a millennial because millennials are the only generation who's seen basically the beginning of gaming.
Yes.
Until where it is now. Like we watched it all. So it is hard.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't have the beginning of comic books. I didn't have the beginning of superhero comics. That was the 60s.
Yeah.
That was way before my time.
Technically there's like Pong and shit, but it's like home consoles started coming out in the 80s.
Yes.
When we're all born. My first like memory ever is watching my dad play the NES.
Oh my God.
And now it's like, here I am playing a fucking Nintendo Switch.
Wow.
And like the PS5.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's why I love playing older games like Chrono Trigger, which we talked about, me being like, this game still holds up because I have the knowledge of someone who grew up on this era.
Yes.
You show a 20-year-old Chrono Trigger for the first time.
It might not work.
They might like it, but they don't appreciate the way like a millennial would, which is so
and
boomer.
The innovation that it had at the time. So let's say you have a friend who's like, hey, I have a young kid. They're like a toddler age. They're about to hit 5 years old. And I'm going to introduce them to a bunch, but I don't want to just get them a PS5 or a Nintendo Switch. But they're like, I'll hunt down an old console or get them an old thing or use that Polymega or use that Polymega. You go Super Nintendo to start with.
Yeah, I think
classic.
I think Super Nintendo is the best era of gaming to begin with.
Damn.
Yeah, and music. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
But also, it's one of the ones where it doesn't. It's so hard because everything after that, like Nintendo 64, Wii, PS1, PS2.
Yeah.
The graphics, the minute that they changed, they were not made for the TVs we have now.
I know. But you're right. Super Nintendo graphics kind of still can look good.
Yeah, Super Nintendo still looks good.
Yes.
Because it's all like, like little sprites and the 16-bit whatever.
So we're talking for like a brand new kid. I'm talking
a brand new kid.
Super Mario World.
Yes.
Super Mario All-Stars that had the original Mario games, but like done up. Donkey Kong Country,
A Link to the Past,
Super Mario Kart, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 6, or it was Final Fantasy 3, I think.
All of so many, Super Nintendo was like, I think the era, because my first was Nintendo, but we played Super Nintendo with my cousins, and that's when I was like, oh, games are not just this one tiny box screen where you like move around. It's like, oh, there's actual like backgrounds and characters and shadows. And stuff. Yeah, you know, I love it. I mean, my favorite era of gaming is not Super Nintendo. I think it's the best for kids and like growing up and whatnot. But that's the difference between recommendations and favorites.
Yes, I agree.
Because anime.
I agree. Are we going into anime now?
We might as well.
You segued us into it. I thought we were going to do a little pit stop in comic books, but no, you're right. Let's go anime. Let's do anime. Let's do anime.
We're going to do comic books.
I was figuring out how to do the segue to comics, but you got me. You're anime.
Right.
Let's go. I was checking out time. Okay,
like,
anime.
For recently, like now that I have like friends are getting anime because of Demon Slayer and like JJK and stuff, everyone's like trying to find stuff to watch. And they always ask, what's your favorite anime? And I go,
can't.
You're not watching it, man.
Yeah.
Like
you're not ready for this.
I can't recommend Gintama because you have to be like an experience. It sounds pretentious, but it's true.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be an experienced anime watcher to be into it.
I've said this before. I can't recommend the comic book Watchmen as a first time. This is the first ever like superhero. Because of
all the tropes and stuff.
Yes, because of all of the things it's sort of commenting on. So you have to give a new time comic book reader. Now we're talking comic books. I didn't mean to, but I hear what you're saying. You just have
dorks.
To
we're going to talk about all these things.
You have to have the context. So go back to anime. Give me though some of your. You can't recommend your all-time fave yet. Until people have what under the belt? What kind of things? I
always recommend something that's like 26 episodes or less.
Oh, like, for the whole thing.
If you want to be a casual anime watcher, I'm not going to recommend. I
don't do One Piece.
I truly believe you should watch one of the big three, whether it's One Piece, Naruto, or Bleach.
Damn, see, I would have counted Dragon Ball Z as one of the big three, but it's too old now.
But I would include that too, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, but that's because of our era.
The history.
But now people are like, I just want something that I can just that's going to hit now.
Yeah.
So 26 episodes or less, I always just go through. I always recommend Mob Psycho 100.
Great.
Because it has it's got slice of life, it's got action, it's got good animation, it's got goofy characters, and it doesn't do any weird anime shit.
It doesn't do fan service.
Yeah, it doesn't do like it's like this. If you want to see what I consider a passion project come to life, I always see Mob Psycho.
And it's less than 26 episodes?
Yeah, it's I mean, I think 3 seasons total, and they're like 10 episodes each. So it's like, like
perfect.
First season 12 episodes, you can figure out if you like it or not.
Yeah.
Because I usually have a rule with anime.
Yeah.
Like if it's like less than 16 episodes, I give it the first 3 or 4 episodes before I figure out if I like it. If it's 26 episodes, I usually give it about 8 or 9 episodes to figure out if I like it. Yeah. Because then it's like, is this going to be worth my time?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm an idiot. I give it the whole first season.
Yeah. Because you know why? Because you're not a casual watcher.
That's true.
Yeah. There's people. People are like they'll watch JJK and Jujutsu Kaisen or
Can
whatever.
I put this on in the background while I scroll my phone? Can I put this on in the background while I fold laundry?
Yeah. And that's another thing too. Yeah. Is like, are you trying to find something that's like shonen-y? Are you trying to find something where it's like, here's a group of kids that got to fight demons and blah, blah. Because there's thousands of anime like that.
Yeah.
But because your first one was these newer ones, you're going to automatically relate it to that. And I don't like that.
Oh.
Like when I watch JJK, it's like the video game thing. When you play a video game like Chrono Trigger now, as someone who's experienced 30 years of gaming, you can see how much this impacted gaming.
Right.
If I play Chrono Trigger as my first video game ever,
you don't get any of that.
Yeah, and then you start playing like older games and or new Final Fantasy VII remakes or whatever, you're like, my only knowledge of JRPGs is this. So I'm going to automatically be like, oh yeah, Chrono Trigger did that. Or
Right.
So
they
it's
took
the
this
same
from
you're right. Yeah, same with the anime. I feel like you wouldn't enjoy Naruto as much after watching Demon Slayer because Demon Slayer took a lot of these tropes from old shonen. So watching old shonens now, you're like, oh, this is just the same thing.
It's like showing somebody the movie Avatar and then showing them Fern Gully.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, this isn't that impressive.
And then the last Airbender.
Right. And then the last Airbender, they're going to go, how are these? They're connected? No, they're not. Not at all. I love that movie, John Carter, that Disney sci-fi movie, that pulpy movie about John Carter of Mars. Mm-hmm. And I've shown it to people and people
Wasn't that the thing that I found in your basement? You had like a game or something of it? Or like a magazine
in
or
my
something.
Basement?
Not your basement, your garage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you had like a magazine or something about it. Because you brought up John Carter when
I do it all the time.
Yeah, and
I do it all the time.
Just casual.
But that is a movie that they made in 2012, and it's based off of a book that came out in the year 1912. And so when I've shown it to people,
that's not a real year.
It's a year the Titanic sunk. It's a real year. It's a historical, real time that happened. But people go, oh, this is just Star Wars or this is just Avatar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but because they took it from this. This literally invented this shit.
It's like last week we were talking about the Samurai and the Boy.
The Samurai and the Boy, also known as Lone Wolf and Cub. Correct.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mandalorian is that.
And I think too, with the problem with recommending people when they start getting nerdy stuff now is like they're not familiar with tropes as much too.
Yeah.
And so and usually when I recommend like Mob Psycho or even
that's a good recommendation.
Yeah. I even recommend Gurren Lagann too.
Wow.
Because Gurren Lagann's like, you want high action all the way through and with a crazy storyline, blah, 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 good animation.
What if I want something, you said slice of life, what if I want something romantic? What's the anime?
The romantic. Well, I'm not really big into romance.
Oh, okay. I forgot.
I'm not super into romance anime.
Okay.
But there is a few of them that I have seen. There is I forgot the name. That's what I mean. It's like I haven't seen enough, you know?
You're like, this isn't cool enough for me. You're going to look it up? Okay.
I literally have a list of anime in my phone that I've seen. Here's another problem is because we didn't have my anime list and shit growing up.
Oh, yeah.
I have to like write down the things that I have seen so that I know, because then I'm like, I think it's called Yona of the something. Akasi no Yona is really good. That's a good romance anime.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And so it's like, there's some things that I'm not really into as much, but I do have a bunch. Nana's a good romance anime. Everyone's into that. The manga's really good.
What if I loved Dungeons and Dragons?
You're like in April, which sucks. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a romance anime person.
What if I love D&D, but I also love food?
I feel like D&D and you also love food. Oh, there's Dungeon Meshi. There you go.
Oh, what is that?
There you go. Delicious in Dungeon.
Oh, cool. All right.
Like mine was like most people though. It's funny that you asked about romance anime because it's like, wow, I really don't watch romance anime that much. But
you're cool. We get it. Jeez.
No, it's just I didn't grow up on it.
Bragging about it.
I grew up on Magic Girl stuff. So I watched like Sailor Moon and like Cardcaptor Sakura, and then I also watched shonen stuff. And now that I've opened up my world a little more.
Yeah, you've done other genres for anime.
My other genres have been more catered towards adults, and a lot of romance anime is not.
It's for teens. It's for young people.
Yeah, it's for teens, and all these kind of cringy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I watched Your Lie in April because it was one of the best romance anime of all time. Like, no 15-year-old talks like this. What is this? It's like a Lisa, walk to remember type
love
thing.
Love is cringe.
Yeah. Love is very cringe.
Love is not for cowards.
Yeah. It's just, I think it's because it's a different culture as well that I'm like, I'm 35. I don't need to watch teen romance anymore.
Can I give you a recommendation? I get that. I hear that. Can I give you a recommendation? I mentioned it earlier for anime and comic books at the same time.
Don.
No.
Okay.
Oh, well, interesting. That one is another one where I'm like, I'm definitely going to recommend that to an adult.
Yeah.
And you got to preface it with, hey, trigger warning. There might be some stuff in there, but it's really fun and cool.
You got your little anime peeled for that.
Here's my recommendation. I don't know if you've heard about the show. I just posted about it on Instagram, but it is a Korean animated show, but it's a Western show, and it's My Adventures with Superman.
I don't think I saw your post.
You didn't see my post? It kind of blew up, Lisa. I don't know. It kind of blew up. The head of DC Comics, Jim Lee, liked my post. Okay, it's a big deal. But listen, it's a Superman animated show. I haven't been very internet
pilled lately.
That's fine. You've been busy. You've been traveling. You've been busy. It's a Superman. You know Superman. Everybody knows Superman.
Yes.
I watched this show. It's got 2 seasons.
Who's Superman?
I'll tell you in a second.
Kidding.
10 episodes a pop. Superman is a ripoff of John Carter of Mars. No, I'm kidding. But that's actually true. But 2 seasons, right? 10 episodes a pop. They also did a comic book that takes place in between both seasons, which is really fun. But it is done. It's written by people here in the US, but it's animated overseas by Korean animators, amazing animators, a great studio. And it is anime influenced. And they have anime style designs. And Superman fights a giant monster.
Which I always think is funny because when something says anime styled stuff,
I'm
not saying you. Yeah. Like a lot of these like Western producers making anime styled series. It's like, oh, you just did really cool fights sequences.
Oh, no. This is they took so many different things about the Superman like comic book mythos. For example, there's a character named Mr. McZipselspitalik. He's a little 5th dimensional imp, and in regular Superman comics, he sounds like Gilbert Gottfried, and he wears a little suit, and he's got a big head, and he floats around. So he's a little man in a suit. For this show, My Adventures with Superman, they styled him like an Asian, like genie/demon sort of influence. Like they totally redesigned the character, but it's still at the core the same character and serves the same purpose. But I loved it. I thought it was great. He fights giant monsters.
Maybe there'll be a Patreon.
And maybe it will be. And there's moments that feel inspired by like Neon Genesis Evangelion. So much stuff, obviously, because it's really. Are you looking at the images of it right now?
No, I feel like a dumbass because there's.
What are you looking at?
I've seen there's a bunch of. I'm looking at my favorite anime lists I've seen, and there's a bunch of romance anime on here.
Lisa.
And I'm pissed. Beastars, Banana Fish, Kaguya-sama.
Well, you missed your chance. I asked you about that earlier. Now we're moving on to Superman. So,
but that's the thing.
Go to my Instagram post. Go to my Instagram post. Go to my Instagram. Lisa, go to my Instagram.
I am. Look.
Hector is funny. Look at it. Swipe through the photos. Look at my Instagram post.
Is it? I'm looking at it. Is it this one? Is it this one?
Yeah, swipe through it.
Yeah.
I got 20 images, baby. Swipe through it. Doesn't that look
It looks
adorable.
good. It looks way better than like Invincible does.
Well, yeah, but
yeah.
I also like Invincible. But
I
Invincible's like,
I haven't watched season 3 yet though.
it's good. The ending is really good. Mark, thumbs up? Yeah, you like?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
same
We got a
thing.
thumbs up from Mark. Okay,
Yeah.
because you were talking about season 3 earlier, and Mark was like, I don't know. It ended very strong. Okay,
I need
great.
to.
But
I need to watch it.
this anime is not technically an anime. It is a Western show. But I think
this cartoon.
This cartoon,
we
it
are allowed to
blends.
say that.
It blends the world so well that I think it's going to be a great entry level suggestion, beginner level for people that don't know anything about Superman.
No, that I might put it on my list.
There we go.
Just might.
It could be a Patreon exclusive.
It is funny how a lot of anime fans are scared to say the word cartoon, though. I don't know if you know if this is like a stigma.
No.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, you should watch Castlevania." I was like, "Oh, what is it?" "Oh, it's like a anime, but it's like made in the U.S."
Right.
It's a cartoon.
Right.
And people hate it because cartoon is so toony.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
But like cartoons are good.
They're
it's
great.
okay to call it a
Some
cartoon.
of the best shows ever made are cartoons.
Simpsons has made me cry at one point.
Yes.
You know, like cartoon.
What part of Simpsons made you cry?
I remember that. Yeah, I think one of the first episodes that made me cry was when Bart sold his soul.
Oh, that was
when
a great one.
Kid.
To Milhouse.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah,
was like, there's like pivotal moments in cartoons that really tear your heartstrings.
It's great. It's a cartoon.
Yeah. See,
the
that's
Iron Giant is a cartoon.
Yeah, there you go. And it made you cry.
Every time.
And it's one of your greatest movies ever made.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have no issue with that. I think also in the comic book community, there's a weird stigma to say comic book instead of graphic novel. But I think comic book readers are fine with calling them comics. It's almost people that are a little bit outsider looking in. They're a little bit sort of like, oh, I'm an adult. Am I allowed to read comic books, or should I just go and get a graphic novel?
You know why?
Graphic novel at Barnes and Noble.
Because we're normal people. Too.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
I think one problem I have with streaming is the people who aren't in my community and just people who are like really just watching me because they're really into a video game that I'm playing or whatever.
They'll jump in. They're new.
Yeah, and they'll come in and they'll just be like heavy on spoilers, heavy on exposition of what I'm playing, and then they'll give all these recommendations. It's like I know you're excited,
right?
But like, don't overwhelm me. So that's another thing when it comes to recommendations. Like, okay, I want to know what exactly you like so I don't overwhelm you with shit. Because otherwise it'd be like, watch, like, I don't know, like One Punch Man season 1. That's a good, you like superhero shit and anime? There you go. You have one season to look at that shit, and whatnot.
Hit me with some, okay, good. We can keep going. Lisa, why don't you hit me with some, you ask me to make some recommendations on various stuff. Let's see if I can give you some.
You're so excited for me to ask you this question.
Yes, I am.
You're
Go
like,
ahead.
Please ask me something,
Go
Lisa,
ahead, please.
right now.
For the love of God.
Because we had this conversation already when we were at your place.
Yeah.
When I was like, I always want to get comic books, but I just don't know where to start. So like me, I really loved the Batman movies.
Great.
With Christian Bale.
Great.
They were my favorite.
The Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, the Dark Knight trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to read the comic version of that, what would you recommend?
The closest recommendation I could make, it's still very comic booky, but it's the one that influenced the movie The Dark Knight maybe the most, is a comic book called Batman: The Long Halloween.
Oh.
And it's about young Bruce Wayne. He's Batman. He hasn't even had Robin yet. He hasn't even met Robin.
I was going to make a really bad joke.
Whoa, go ahead.
It's a long Halloween because he hasn't taken off his costume yet.
For the whole year. But the comic book, it does take place over a year, and it's about him dealing with, it's how Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face. So you can see it's very similar to The Dark Knight. And I think the art is great, very beautiful, and the writing is really solid, a great detective story. It's a mystery. So that one is kind of the closest to, it's a great beginner comic because it's like, if you've seen the movies, this is close enough to this while still giving you a little bit more comic booky thing. The thing I love about that comic story, and I have it, I'll let you borrow it.
Of course you do.
Because Batman villains are so crazy and cartoony, not in a bad way, cartoony's fun. His villains like Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze and Clayface and all these characters that are like, you haven't really seen in the movie.
I've always liked how Batman was kind of goofy.
Yeah, there's a goofiness to it.
Nice to meet you, obviously.
It's great. It's great. But this comic book starts with really the only crime that Batman is dealing with are like the mobsters in Gotham City. But it shows you how over the course of a year, things are starting to escalate. We're getting more characters like the Joker. We're getting more characters like Poison Ivy. And what does that mean for the city? And what does that mean for the old style regular human mobsters? So it's really cool to kind of transition, because then once a reader can read that, then you're like, I think you're ready for more zany shit. Here's another Batman comic book that has all the villains. Check this out. So it's good.
All right. How about another one?
Go.
Okay. Because that is something I've always been curious about. But also, okay, because you have read some manga.
Yes, I have.
What have you read? You read Dawn to Dawn.
Yeah.
Did you read the Akira ones, or do you just own them?
I read them. Read them all, the entire series.
Okay.
Really great. Holy shit.
What other ones have you read?
Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah.
I haven't started Demon Slayer yet, and I haven't started Hunter x Hunter, but I got the volume. I'm excited about it. Still haven't started that yet.
It's a lot, but it's great.
I don't know if that's really all. Oh, I don't know if that's everything.
You can borrow all my manga
if
you
ever
want to.
Can I?
There you go.
Can I borrow stuff? Okay, great.
I was going to say, because a lot of people, a big thing about manga is obviously they like how manga is written.
Yes.
Or like how we talk about how anime is different from Western. So like, what's a good comic book?
Yes.
That would pay closest
for an
to
anime
like
fan?
For like an action shonen fan.
Honestly, we mentioned it earlier, Invincible.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Invincible,
Actually,
right, is like a shonen.
Yeah.
It's like an American shonen because it's about like, I got to get my level stronger. Like that's kind of
the coming of age, as a very violent superhero.
Yes. And I think that that comic book is also great, even though it plays on a lot of the superhero tropes. It's kind of giving them to you for the first time in a way that you start to become familiar. Oh, okay, this thing happens in superhero comics. You know, the character changes his costume, or the character starts dating another superhero. The character has a civilian.
His dad is J.K. Simmons.
His dad is J.K. Simmons. Happens all
every single manga
time, all the time. So that one I would make for an American comic book.
I think that's honestly why I started watching Invincible, is because I saw so many anime and manga like mutuals
people talking about it. Hell yeah.
Which is also a thing where it's like, okay, so I know in the world of a casual anime watcher or manga reader where everyone has like the base main ones where it's like you have to get through all these, but it's like I kind of recommend things that are a little more obscure.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
because you're cooler than me.
No, I meant, do you have more obscure ones besides Invincible?
For comic books?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah.
This is your favorite conversation in the world.
Oh my God. Okay, so for non-superhero
the thing
comics,
is, I can't believe you have this type of memory. I literally have a list on my phone of all the anime I've watched because I'm like, oh yeah, I have seen a lot of this show. What am I talking about? I forget shit so quickly.
Here's a fun, self-contained, obscure one. Not obscure. I mean, I think it hit in the comic book world, but I love this book, and this book moved me to tears, Lisa. It's called Murder Falcon.
Oh.
It is a book about a guy who's depressed, and he used to be in a band with his buds, like a rock and roll heavy metal band. And all of a sudden,
haven't we all?
All of a sudden, he gets visited by, I can't remember if it's an alien.
The Murder Falcon.
Yes. Yes, he gets visited by Murder Falcon, who is an interdimensional or alien character who's a big anthropomorphic falcon who's like, we need you and we need your rock and roll to save the universe.
He sounds hot.
He is hot. He's got big arms. He's a falcon face, and he shreds on the guitar.
I do not kink shame furries, man. They put a hot bird character in the new Elden Ring.
He has like a bandana. Look it up on your phone. Look up Murder Falcon. 2 words, Murder Falcon. Look at the art in this comic book. Dude, it shreds. It rips. I love recommending this book. I've recommended it to a musician friend of mine.
Me excited.
See? I've given this to there you go. Yep. Mark's got it. A musician friend of mine who I'm like, I don't even play music.
What is it?
Let me see.
This is so silly.
Hell yeah, dude. And he's got a robotic arm. Hell yes, dude. It's so sick.
Kojima would write.
This book
is a Kojima character.
He is. He's kind of like, he looks like a Solid Snake. So the book is also about the power of music.
See how
it's a really special comic book, man.
These are, how many volumes is it?
One. It's one and done. It's a one and doneer, Lisa. It's like 6 or 12 issues and it's done. Like the story is complete. It's done. And my other favorite detail about this, I love telling people this, is that the person who created it is the writer and the artist at the same time. Okay, Daniel Warren Johnson is the guy's name. Incredibly talented. He wrote the story and he drew all the art. Daniel Warren Johnson also plays guitar, so he wrote some heavy metal kind of music to go along to it as you're reading it. And you can go to his website. You can go to Daniel Warren Johnson. And,
do you hear that? Murder Falcon,
dude,
everyone.
It's so sick. And he also wrote a story, and this almost moves me to tears too. He wrote, a song that is a tribute to a comic book artist named Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby basically created the Marvel Universe in the 60s. Jack Kirby is the man. And this comic artist is so inspired by the art of Jack Kirby.
I can just tell how excited you are talking about it. It makes me want to read it.
It's sick, dude. So that's an obscure recommendation I make for anybody, and especially when I did give it to my musician friend, I was like, this is about the power of music. Please read this. And she loved it.
I mean, Almost Famous is my favorite movie of all time.
Oh my God, really? I think you're going to love Murder Falcon. That's your favorite movie of all time?
It is.
Can I tell you my one problem with that movie? Have I already told you what it is?
What?
The scene where Kate Hudson comes into the bathroom when the kid is in there, the young journalist, right? And she goes down there and she sits down to pee, and like they have a conversation. And then
he's writing all the notes in the tub.
He's writing notes,
and then movie 1,000 times.
And she's done peeing, and then she leaves.
Yeah.
We don't hear pee sound effects. It pisses me off. We should have heard gross, bubbly, bubble gut Taco Bell fart shit noises in that scene.
I don't even know if she's actually peeing. She could have just done her morning like, I'm just hungover and I need to sit on the toilet. Girls do that.
I think they were afraid to do it.
Yeah.
I think they were afraid, and I think it was cowardly.
I think also she was trying to respect the fact that there was a 15-year-old kid in the tub.
Then she should have come into the bathroom to begin with to sit down to pee. I remember she took her pants down and she peed.
That is the problem you have with Almost
I feel like they were afraid because it was Kate Hudson. She was, she's a beautiful actress, and like
she's
dainty.
Young, yeah.
She's young. They should have had a thick, frothy pee sound effect. You want the real rock and roll world? That's rock and roll, baby.
That's how you know it's a good movie, when that is your biggest
That's my
flaw.
only. It's true.
That's your
every
only
part.
flaw.
Every other part of the movie is great.
Every part except for the lack of pee sound.
That's it. But Philip Seymour Hoffman, amazing in that movie. Amazing.
I know. Rest in peace,
amazing.
right?
R.I.P. Man, one of the greats. But yeah, that's all we needed is just like as she's talking to him about like, you know what it's really like to be a groupie.
Yeah, it was just a violent pee.
Super
dehydrated.
After the whole night, being hungover, drinking all night, partying, dude. That's a disgusting pee.
I love that. But that's also.
Can somebody edit that and send it to me, please? Can somebody edit that and put that on TikTok? It'll go viral.
That's so funny because there's a movie that Freddie Prinze Jr. that this is so off subject.
She's All That?
Not She's All That. Head Over Heels.
Oh.
Do you remember this movie?
No.
This was it was a rom-com.
Okay.
See, I never watched romance anime, but I watched a lot of rom-coms.
I love Freddie Prinze Jr. by the way.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
we gotta have him on the pod.
Yeah, he's great. He has a wrestling podcast too.
Yeah.
And so the movie he did where he like starts dating this girl and he's actually like an undercover detective and she doesn't trust him because she thinks he murdered somebody. It's a crazy rom-com.
Oh, that
it's
sounds
actually
fun.
Really good.
But it's not like Never Been Kissed. They're the same age. He's not infiltrating a high school or anything.
No.
Okay.
She's a girl that she's like
she's
a
in
painter.
Her 20s and he's in his 20s.
Yeah, they're the same age. It's fine.
Got it.
But there's a part where she like tries to get into his house and like goes into his house and like tries to search for shit to see if he actually murdered someone or not.
Yeah.
And two of the girls hide in the tub with the curtain closed because he comes home to use the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
And they edited in a bunch of shitting sounds.
Yes.
And he didn't know they were going to do that.
Yes.
So
is he mad about it or did he love it?
He thought it was funny.
Good.
There's
Good
a
man. See,
movie
I told you he's a good dude.
where there's
good.
two girls in the shower and you hear like the worst shitting sounds ever.
God.
And they
That's
just show,
so funny.
And they
to
just
me.
show him just sitting there, no faces or anything, because I don't think he realized that they were going to edit in the shitting sounds. So
they're like, Freddie, can you just sit down? Like you're just like.
There's a fun fact for a movie
poop.
for you.
It's a simple poop, but then in post they're like, it's gonna be disgusting.
It's pretty like
it's an atomic bomb.
It also does not really make sense too. Like it's pretty wild in the
cares?
moment.
It's a comedy.
But Almost Famous is a movie I do recommend to people.
Yeah.
Where it's like you can like some recommendations I just take because I'm like, this person really loves it and I want to consume the thing that they love.
Yeah.
And that's why I even got into Mob Psycho to begin with, was because
of Almost Famous?
No, because of because of the passion involved with it. Somebody recommending One Punch Man, me reading about One Punch Man and seeing that the artist who redrew One Punch Man, Yusuke Murata, was a huge fan of One's work. One drew One Punch Man as a webcomic, but he also did Mob Psycho 100.
And that's what got you to that.
And that's what got me into it, is I was like, wait, one of my favorite manga artists is redrawing a webcomic from this other artist and is recommending his other work, and now his other work is becoming an anime. And so it's like sometimes just saying like, I want to see what people think is like, this is a passion project that I appreciate and that I really enjoy, and if I respect that person, then I want to see that thing too, even if it's not something that I normally would be into.
Almost Famous is a very well-known movie.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite movie recommendation for like an obscure movie
Kiss, Kiss, Bang,
other
Bang.
than Head Over Heels? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That's a good pick. I would say for like film nerds, they know the movie, but usually regular people don't.
Yeah, a lot of people. It's a very overlooked movie, but it's my favorite holiday movie. It's a Christmas movie. Do you know it's a Christmas movie?
Of course I did. It's a Shane Black movie.
Yeah,
did you know every Shane Black movie is a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
We knew that.
But you're a regular film person.
I'm a regular film person.
Yeah, what's yours?
John Carter.
John Carter, there you go.
I tell people
Planet of the Dinosaurs.
Planet of the Dinosaurs. I tell people John Carter, it's streaming on Disney Plus. If you like adventure movies, if you like things like Star Wars and stuff, I'll check it out. And usually the feedback I get was, that wasn't that bad. I go, great, I'll take it. What else? Hot Rod. Comedy classic.
That's comedy one too.
But if there are people who have not, that's a thumbs down on Hot Rod from producer Mark.
To be fair, I'm also not an Andy Samberg person.
Whoa.
But I do think
have you seen Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping? That's another one I recommend hard.
I watched
and you're not a fan?
25 minutes of it and I was like, something about his mouth.
Everybody else, please, in the internet, help me out. Are those not comedic masterpieces, Hot Rod and Pop Star. Come on. I mean, we got to know.
My favorite comedy movie of all time is The Jerk. So
okay. That's it. All right. Lisa and Mark teaming up on me. That's fine. That's fine. Jeez, let me think of another comedy recommendation I can make here. I feel like I'm losing my cred. I'm losing my comedy cred.
No, you're good.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrel. Sure, those are classics. Those are classics. I got one for you. I got one. Because my handle is Hector is funny. I have to back it up. I loved the movie Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams.
I never watched that one.
Modern movie, pretty new, came out in the past, probably now 5 years now.
Do they play PS5 together?
No.
Okay.
Game Night is like board games, but then there's like a real murder mystery that gets involved, and I think that movie is fucking hysterical.
I love just how off the rails we got with that. But you know what? That's the thing.
Do I get thumbs up? Game Night? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Producer Mark hasn't seen it. Thumbs down. My God.
That's the thing about recommending shit, though.
Brutal.
Like, I have to be very safe. I have to be careful that I don't turn into one of those people who randomly show up in my Twitch streams and overwhelm me with shit. Okay. Because there's nothing that
I'll hang back.
No, I mean, there's just nothing
I'll stop, Lisa. I'll stop.
Nothing that bugs me more where I'm like, I'm really enjoying this thing. Well, you got to play this thing. And did you know in this game and this one, you make sure you make this choice with the ending and blah, blah. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Let me enjoy this thing. And if I want to enjoy more of these things.
Little by little.
Yeah.
Little by little.
Like my stream knows I'm not a big turn-based JRPG person.
Okay.
I say that as someone who loved Earthbound, loved Persona 5, now loves
Chrono Trigger turn-based?
It is turn-based.
It is.
But it's a little, but you kind of choose.
Yeah.
But it is a JRPG. And it's just, but it doesn't really go against the other JRPGs. Like, there's no grinding involved. There's no, if your main player dies, people are still alive. It does a lot of things right.
Yeah. I've been thinking of another comedy movie I can recommend. Please, please. I need to save face with you too.
Listen, I had to bring up the romance anime to get my cred back.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm going to give you one more.
Yeah.
This is maybe the best I got. This is the best I got. Underrated in that people maybe have seen it, haven't seen it. I still go to bat for this movie. Nacho Libre, I think, is a masterpiece.
Well,
comedic masterpiece.
That makes sense for you.
Mark, am I getting a thumbs up?
Yeah. I mean,
that makes sense for me. Why? Because I'm Mexican? Wow, dude.
And we love Jack Black. So,
we love Jack Black. But it is true, honestly, that is a big part of the reason I think that movie is hilarious.
Of course it is.
I grew up visiting relatives in Mexico, and there are parts of Mexico that are like exactly like that movie. And that movie was made by the whitest people. But I was like, straight up though, they hired a Mexican cast other than Jack Black.
Yeah.
It's funny, dude.
Other than Jack Black, you don't know.
Yeah.
He could be Mexican.
That's my favorite thing to do every day. Okay. All right. Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Jack Black's Mexican accent is very funny.
I did tell you that there has not really been any quotable movies in the last like 20 years.
I mean, I would say Game Night is quotable.
But not to one people recognize.
I know.
You're going to recognize Anchorman and not.
I know, dude. And also, listen, and also the landscape is different.
Yeah.
Like when I talk about a comedy movie, it's like, oh, I didn't catch that on streaming. Like comedies used to be coming out frequently enough in theaters that we would all go see it.
Yep. It was like the end of the Judd Apatow era.
Yeah, dude.
Was the strongest.
Yeah. That sort of knocked up 40-year-old virgin era. I know, man. I know.
Yeah. But now it's like. Whew. Now I just say Date Bayo. There you go. Now it's just Naruto. Oh. I taught you that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You don't remember that,
for sure.
Yeah. Date Bayo.
Doesn't he do like a thing? What is it? What's the thing?
Like the ninja?
Yeah,
like
what
hands?
is it?
Like
is
the
it
hands thing, signing? Yeah, no, that's
totally different thing.
This goes up the butthole.
Thing. That's a thousand year death or whatever it's called.
Give me some franchises, big, expansive, scary, overwhelming franchises, and go, Hector, what should I watch? What should be the first thing that I watch if I've never seen blank?
Oh, well, you should
Rapid
watch.
Fire. Go.
You want me to? I keep asking.
Ask me, and I'll ask you.
Okay, fine. Okay, what is a big like comic book series that you would recommend someone to get into? Like if they were just like, I want to go heavy.
You want to go heavy?
Yeah, and they're like, I want to start reading a bunch of volumes of one thing. What would you recommend?
Oh God. Oh, that's tough. Walking Dead. Okay, Mark's got Walking Dead. Sure. That's alongside Invincible. Yes, they're long running, but they also end. Those are really good picks. It depends because superhero comics don't work like that. Yeah. They work like if you like a character, you'll read a Batman thing. Like I recommended The Long Halloween. There's kind of a sequel to that.
It's so less confusing.
You're about to say so much better.
Yeah. Less confusing.
It is and it isn't. It is and it isn't. It's also like.
Well, it's like I'm excited for you to read Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
But that's all you need to read is Hunter x Hunter.
Sure.
or watch
Sure.
Hunter x Hunter.
Sure.
And you don't have to go off the rails and read a backstory about Gon from some different author or whatever, you know.
And you don't have to do that with superhero comic books either.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want.
Well, that's a terrible way to recommend it. Do whatever you want. Okay, bye.
Yeah. There's the real recommendation is there is a bunch of, it's like this. I understand the type of people I'm dealing with are the people who can get obsessed.
Okay.
The type of people I'm dealing with are the people that are like, you don't understand, Hector. If I get into this thing, I'm going to get into it. And I will look up lists and I will do research. I'll go to Wikipedia, those kinds of people. Casual people that are like, oh, I'm kind of interested. Yeah. I'm already like, stop. I'm already like, if you really ever wanted to read comic books or manga or watch anime or cartoons, you would have done it. Sometimes I'm like, it is.
I do. Do
you understand that feeling?
I do truly believe. I think
you have to mean it. You have to mean the ask,
or you just have to be that type of person.
A little bit.
Because like me now, I really want to learn how to play Magic.
Right.
I want to learn how to play Commander because I wanted to do it with friends in person. Everyone's like, "Well, you're gonna start Magic now at 35." I'm like, you understand, dude? I've been a nerd my whole life.
I'll do the research.
I know how to do it. If I have a good group of people, I'm going to do it right. Like, I'm not some person who's like, I want to infiltrate the nerds. Give me a nerd thing to do.
This isn't phony. This isn't phony baloney or casual, which is totally fine to be casual. But when I run into people that are like, I get the feeling that you're just kind of cash, I'll give you some comic book recommendations. I'll let you borrow some stuff. Oh, I watched the TV show Watchmen. It was really good. Should I read the comic book? No.
Yeah.
That kind of thing where I'm like, but if you like that TV show, maybe read this. This is a self-contained thing. This is
like 90% of my conversations with friends.
It is.
Most of the people in comedy, they don't hit me up to book me for things. They just want anime recommendations, manga, video games. And I go,
we're people as well, okay, guys. We like to socialize, and we have other.
Put me on a show, and I'll give you a full list, a breakdown.
But when I have people tell me like, Hector, I want to get into X-Men, but if I can tell, oh, you're the type of person that's going to do research, I go, great. Here's a couple of jumping on points. And if you like one of those, you can take it from here because you know how to use Wikipedia. You know how to search like an author's, sort of writer's credits. You know how to. There are people that have already made all the Excel spreadsheets of like the past 5
like
years
the
of
filler
X-Men
list
comic.
for animes.
Yes, those things already exist. And when people that I know how to utilize that stuff, you're golden. So
I'm sinking into my chair.
I don't think they're going to get overwhelmed or sort of be frustrated by the fact that, this X-Men comic book series starts and then stops, and then you can kind of move over to this and keep going. They're not going to get frustrated by that. They're going to be like, got it. I know what to do and where to go. Which is great for manga that it usually goes volume 1 all the way to the end.
I have literally told people when they ask for recommendations, do you want to get a coffee sometime?
Yeah. This is an involved process.
Yeah.
I literally, the Batman comic book I told you about earlier, I'm letting a friend borrow right now. That's all I let him borrow.
I also have a document of explaining what shows to watch, what games to play.
Maybe you should put that on the Patreon. Unless you've already made that publicly available.
I have my anime list publicly available.
Take it down.
Take it down
Delete
right now.
that post. Take it down.
But I would absolutely love to put shit in there because I do think a lot of people like recommendations based off people versus like they're going to listen to this podcast because they like what we have to say.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd go online and be like, what should I watch? You know?
Yeah. And find the list or whatever, or the video.
So today's episode, you guys just learned that we are pretentious nerds.
No. We're trying to be helpful, but we're also realistic.
Yeah.
And we're realistic with our time. When people go, I'm thinking about getting into Spider-Man comics. Where should I start? I'm like, I can't, it's too tough.
I don't have, like what I just did 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
I need to know more about you.
Yeah.
Did you like them? Which movies did you like? Which Spider-Man movie is your favorite?
That's why I gave you the very specific Batman ones.
Which was great. The Dark Knight, the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight.
Yeah, there you go.
But then if you're like, but I also like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mr. Freeze as in Batman and Robin, I go, I might have something for you that's really fun.
And it's Terminator 2.
Yeah, watch another Arnold movie, and it's Conan the Barbarian with the sexy witch.
It's just all Arnold movies, actually.
Yeah,
nice. Well, I think that is a great way to leave off today's episode.
Yep.
And
next week a guest.
We'll have a guest. We'll have a guest. We don't know who yet, but we're gonna find out now how to nerd out with other people who aren't. Very online nerds.
I'm scared.
We know a lot of nerdy people, but not their specific things that they are very dorky about.
True. Yeah. I'm really excited about it.
Like I know a lot of people love video games. I want to know what weird shit they like. I learned about Murder Falcon today.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
If that's your one takeaway, check out Murder Falcon and check out Mob Psycho 100.
Yes, please watch Mob Psycho 100. It's a great. I would not ruin my hand if I didn't believe in. Should I
get a Murder Falcon tattoo?
Yeah. Fuck yeah, you should. Okay. We're gonna.
Whoa, maybe.
Okay, that's a great way to end because if I start talking about tattoos, that's a whole nother episode,
I know,
which we'll probably talk about ahead of time.
Okay.
So, anyways, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.